I'm sorry. This began months ago, when I was hunting for a place to live. I scrolled through listings in my account, and a deal leapt out at me. A couch, perfect in the photos, clean lines, deep cushions, a soft gray glow under afternoon light. It looked new, too new, like it had never known a human wait. I told myself it was lucky timing, the kind of luck that whispers your name. Contact by email only. The post warned, no calls. The address on the listing was missing. The pictures were not. His email handle was strange. ExecutePot666, letters and numbers that didn't sit right in my chest. It felt like a dare, like he was laughing behind the screen. Still, I wrote, offered a price. Something fair, something safe. He replied in 5 minutes, too fast, like he'd been waiting with open hands. Accepted, he said, and then asked for my address. My stomach tightened. A cold string pulled through. I didn't want a stranger at my door. I suggested I could pick it up. He insisted, again and again, that he should come to my home. The word insist is a fist. It closes around your breath. I stopped replying. A day later, another email, an address this time close, too close to be convenient. It felt like a challenge set on my street. Almost too good to be true, I told myself, and truth hears that and smiles with no lips. I got in my van, hand steady, heart not. The neighborhood looked ordinary, trees in the wind, mailboxes with small flags. His house was smaller than the others, a shy rectangle, pressed into the lot like it wanted to hide. I rang the bell. A middle-aged man in a baseball cap answered, his grin too wide, teeth like the white of store lights. "Come in," he said, voice sugar, eyes syrup. I stepped into air that didn't move, the kind of stillness that listens. The living room had curtains drawn, a lamp without a shade, a rug with tired flowers. And there, the couch. Not the couch from the photos. This one had scuffs, little tears along the seams, a bruise where the body sits. "It's not the same," I said. He smiled and lowered the price, his smile lowering with the number. "I'm not interested," I told him, and the room heard me and tightened. I turned for the door, and his hand fell on my shoulder, heavy, claiming space that wasn't his. "Take it for free," he whispered, "if you give me something." The word something crawled on the floor like a shadow with knees. I gasped, ripped my shoulder away, and left the house without looking back. I drove fast. The streetlights were blurs. The mirrors were eyes. I told myself it was over, but endings are just doors that haven't been tried yet. That night, silence in the apartment, TV murmuring like a tired friend. I lay in bed, counting breaths to sleep, trying to push the day out of the room. Then, a step, heavy, deliberate, on the porch outside. I muted the TV. The quiet came in like water. Another step, closer, wood complaining under weight. The doorknob twitched, a small metal breath, the kind that knows you're home. I froze, feet on the cool floor, eyes on the peephole, heart beating like a fist on a table. I looked. No one there, only the distorted fisheye of the hallway. A whisper of movement, not at the front, at the back. The gate latch, a tiny click, opening, closing, opening again. I felt him, not his face, his intent, the way a room feels a storm before the first drop. My hands found the phone, 911, numbers like a rope thrown across dark water. I whispered my address, my voice practicing calm while my bones shook. At the back door, the knob rattled, patient like a watch that never blinks. I spoke loud then. "Police are on their way." Silence fell, not relief. A pause, a mind considering. The latch again, one last hesitant click. and the night swallowed everything that wasn't me. I stood alone, listening to the house breathe, walls expanding, contracting, my name in the plaster. I checked the windows, locked, checked the chain, set. Outside, the street lamp hummed, insects orbiting a false moon. I waited for the sirens, waited through a clock that refused to move. They arrived late, or time moved strangely, either way. The blue lights tasted like cold metal. I told them what I could: the porch, the knob, the gate, the man I'd met hours earlier. They walked the yard, left footprints in dew, left advice in the kitchen air. Change the locks, they said. Don't answer the door at night. Call if anything else happens. The door closed behind them, and I was left with a house that now knew me, frightened. I couldn't unsee his grin, the way it swung like a porch light in wind. I couldn't unknow how close he had stood, not just to my door, to the parts of my life I kept unlocked. For days after, I kept curtains narrow, kept keys by the bed, kept my breath quiet. The nights turned long, a hallway that never ends. The thought returned again and again. He followed me home. Not an accident, not coincidence, intent. It has been a month, and nothing else has happened. But sleep leaves me at the threshold and will not enter. I hear things, or I think I do. The house learning my fears and repeating them back. I don't open Craigslist anymore. I don't open doors for bargains. I don't open myself to lucky timing. I keep a list by the phone, change the locks, check the windows, leave a light in the hall. My van sits in the lot like a quiet witness. It knows the way to his small house, and it will never take me there again. Sometimes I stand at the peephole, seeing only my own breathing reflected back. I think about the grin, the word something, the hand that weighed my shoulder. I think about how easy it is to invite danger just by replying fast, just by trusting a picture. He didn't need my address. He just needed me to come. He followed the shape of my fear home, and now the shape lives here, in the corners, in the hinge of night. 1 month is a long time to be brave, and I am tired, but I am still here. And this is the part where I tell you, if a deal feels like a door closing behind you, leave before it clicks. If you meet a grin that is too wide, it's not hospitality, it's hunger. If a house is smaller than the others, maybe it learned how to shrink around secrets. If a couch looks new in photos, remember, photos never sit down. I am looking for a new apartment now, and I carry my boundaries like keys. When night falls, I breathe, I lock, I wait for the morning that keeps its promises. And if you're listening and you're scrolling and the photos glow too bright, remember me. Remember that some addresses are traps, and some smiles are doors, and some deals are maps that only lead you back to fear. If you hear a latch click twice, if you feel watched through your own keyhole, call for help. And if you ever wonder whether to go, don't. Because he doesn't need your address. He only needs a reason. If you enjoyed this chilling tale, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. I was searching for a car, a gift for my son's 18th birthday. The usual sites were overpriced, fake smiles behind shiny ads. Then I found it on Craigslist, an 03 Toyota Camry, white, 69,000 miles, $3,600. It felt unreal, a bargain too perfect. The seller called himself Bob. 10 miles away, his voice calm, normal, friendly. "Come by this afternoon," he said. I drove out, cash in my pocket, hope in my chest. The sun was low. Road turned from asphalt to dirt. Bob's house appeared, small, distant from neighbors. The garage was open. No Camry, only piles of car parts, stacked too neatly. An old pickup sat by the fence. I knocked at the door. 5 minutes passed. No answer, only silence. Then I called his phone. The ringtone came from inside the house. My heart sank. Through the window, I saw a dim dining room, old furniture, and at the back door, a man. He stood still, facing the yard. "Bob," I whispered, tapping the glass. No movement, not a blink. I walked to the backyard. The closer I got, the stranger it felt. The man's skin, pale, stiff, stitches at the wrist, his eyes, glass. He wasn't alive. He was mounted, a human body, taxidermied, frozen forever at the door. I stumbled back, terror clawing at my throat. I turned to run. That's when I saw it. The blinds of the front window. They had been open before. Now they were shut, but 2 slats were bent. Someone was watching me, not the mounted man. Someone alive. I sprinted back to my car, hands trembling on the keys. The engine roared. I pressed the pedal down hard. Dust rose behind me like smoke. I never looked back. There was no Camry. Bob wasn't selling a car. He was preparing something else. The parts in his garage, the mounted body, the blinds. I was close, too close, to becoming part of his collection. I was looking to buy an iPhone 5. About a year ago, Craigslist seemed cheaper, riskier, but tempting. A man listed his phone for $200. He said it was mint condition, flawless, upgrading to the 5C. I didn't know much about phones, so I brought my little brother. He knew how to test things. We agreed to meet halfway, a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot, 10 o'clock at night. The lot was half empty, buzzing fluorescent lights overhead. A black Honda Civic pulled in. 2 large men stepped out, their presence alone intimidating. One held the phone, shiny, no scratches. My brother took my SIM, popped it in. He nodded. "It works." The man's voice changed. "Price is $250 now." I lied, told him I only had $200. Truth was, I had more, but I wasn't paying a cent above his listing. He frowned, but took the money. Both men walked back to their Civic. I sat in my car, called my girlfriend, phone worked fine, but my brother whispered, "They haven't left." I brushed it off, started the engine, pulled out. Seconds later, the black Civic started too. I drove onto the turnpike, headlights stretching into the dark. A red light stopped me. Rearview mirror. The Civic was there. My chest tightened. I thought they left the opposite way. But no. Every turn I took, they took close on my tail. My brother's voice shook. "Pull over." "No!" I pressed harder on the gas. They pressed harder too. The chase began. Streetlights flickered. Shadows jumped. If they wanted to talk, they'd honk. But silence, predatory silence, I knew they wanted more. The next intersection turned red. My heart pounded. I floored it, screamed through the red. Horns blared. Cars froze. My brother shouted, "You're insane!" But when I checked the mirror, the Civic wasn't there. I kept driving, for miles. Finally, home. My hands still trembled. Hours later, the house was quiet, family asleep. I sat in bed, phone glowing in my hands. Then, the sound, car doors, 2 slams. I froze, pulled the curtain aside. My blood ran cold. The black Civic, parked across the street. The men, halfway to my door. I shook my dad awake. He grabbed a bat, crouched behind the door. Knock, loud. "Go away!" my dad yelled. A voice outside. "I have a gun. I'll shoot the lock I dialed our neighbor, Joe, a cop, 2 doors down. Stay hidden, I'm coming." Silence. Then, a muffled shot. The door splintered. A hole, inches from my dad's head. He stumbled back. Outside, Joe's voice thundered, "Drop your weapons!" Sirens joined seconds later. The men were caught, handcuffed under flashing lights. That night felt endless. The sound of police radios, neighbors staring through blinds. I realized how close we came. A bargain phone could have cost my life. The Civic haunted me. Every black car on the road looked like theirs, but Joe saved us. And my dad's courage still burns in my memory. And my dad's courage still burns in my memory. It was the scariest day of my life, but strangely, the best. Because we survived, and I'll never trust Craigslist again. If you enjoyed this chilling tale, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.